Take a look at this drone video here behind me. What you're looking at is a giant hole in the ground called the Devil's Sinkhole. It's located in Edwards County near Rocksprings. If you've ever been, it's an astounding sight. It's also not easy to explore, which is why it's rarely accessed and typically by experienced climbers only. Well, we're about to give you some views that few people have ever seen. Myself and photojournalist Gavin Nesbitt were given special access to rappel down with researchers into the sinkhole. Here's a look at our epic trip and what we learned on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Do you see the panic on my face? Don't look down. At least that's what I told myself. Only 150 more feet to go. In reality, there's no need to worry, considering I'm surrounded by a top-notch experienced climbing crew, and Gavin and I did our required training.
Can't believe I did that. Bad caver, bad climber, bad technique.
Still, it's hard to tell your brain that. After all, in my case, this is something I may never get the chance to do again. Just look at the view.
Well, it's unique in Texas. It's a very large collapsed entrance.
In other words, a giant sinkhole that requires a 150-foot rappel. It features rare ferns on its walls that you can't find anywhere else in Texas, and you can hear the dripping water despite a record-setting drought. It's truly a world all its own. And for cavers, this is a legendary place to go.
A lot of our early vertical techniques were actually developed in this cave and have been applied and used throughout the U.S.
Gary Schindel would know. He's an expert climber and caver who's traveled the world exploring the underground.
Those two holes?
Yes.
Okay. The guano miners used to come down that on cypress rung ladders, that's my understanding, or cedar rung ladders, using baling wire, and extended down. And they came down on those ladders 150 feet, basically to mine guano here for a couple of years.
A terrifying thought. Our trek down was much safer. Once on solid ground, the view upward might be more rewarding than looking down.
The issue is the cave is so deep that it allows us the opportunity to look at a cross-section of the rocks of the Edwards limestone. So this is the same rock that actually over in the San Antonio area is our water supply.
There's a lot to take in, and the back guano is knee-deep at times. While some might find that unappealing, it's exactly why many of these researchers are here.
We're still within the photic zone that gets hit with sunlight, but I'm hoping to find some cave-adapted animals.
Dr. Youngli Gao with the Geology Department at UTSA is working to get a sample of guano and stalagmites with a goal to see how the cave has evolved over time.
Dating can go as far back as like 600 or 700,000 years. So that way we can extend our record of paleoclimate and also paleoecology.
The data he collects will likely reveal how the climate has shifted in this area.
It's going to take some maneuvering to get down through here.
Okay.
So, just be careful. Even the large stones can be loose.
Meantime, our guide Paul leads us into a small maze-like cave off the beaten path, full of tight squeezes. There was a payoff, though.
So we rappelled down about 150 feet. Now we've gone an extra 300 feet down to the water table. Check this out. This is incredible. Look how clear the water is down here.
The adventure didn't end there. We spent several hours in the sinkhole, and the discoveries were never ending. But in this case, what goes down must come up.
What an incredible view. Few people get to see this. We were very lucky to be able to come in with the researchers today. Now comes the hard part. We have to climb out and make it to the surface.
We consider ourselves very lucky to be standing where we are right now.
Right.
Not many people get to come down here.
You'll be even luckier if you get out. So.
With the team we rappelled down into the cave with, there was no doubt we'd make it out of the Devil's Sinkhole unscathed. But it's a mental game. And after some harrowing moments on the ascension, it was back to the surface for Gavin and I. We'd spent hours trekking through bat guano and taking in the sights and sounds of one of the most awe-inspiring views we'll ever witness.
Never seen anything like it.
At the end of the day, though, this was a research mission. And while many different disciplines were involved, the biggest reason this team went into the sinkhole has to do with one of the most important mammals in South Texas. bats.
I mean, they are the biggest nighttime bug eater that we have here in Texas. So for example, at Bracken Cave, that colony of bats is eating over 150 tons of bugs at night. That's like 280,000 Whataburgers.
Fran Hutchins runs Bracken Bat Cave, but he's also interested in what is happening here. That's because the bat population has inexplicably decreased over the last few years.
So we're not sure if the bats have moved to another area. This area has had a significant drought for a number of years, so they just may have moved to where there's a better food source. We just don't know.
To find out, those in the cave are searching for dead bats, looking for signs of disease amongst the bat population.
We also will swab the substrate, looking to see if there's any evidence of Pseudomyces destructans fungus, which is what causes white nose syndrome.
A syndrome that kills bats. Thankfully today, none was found. But the research continues, with weather and drought the next big concern.
We put a data logger in there that records temperature and humidity every hour.
Reset.
I could talk up a storm about bats for sure.
Andrew Barnaby, a volunteer with Texas Parks and Wildlife, has been a guide here for decades and knows that it's bats that are vital to this ecosystem. They're also the biggest draw for those who visit from around the world.
Papua New Guinea, Brazil, Argentina.
From all sides of the earth. And we had overseas visitors drop into the cave with us today.
I haven't been caving in Texas before, so I thought, I've just got to come. And what a magnificent place to start out.
Farr hails from Great Britain and is one of Europe's most famous cavers and explorers. Just another example of how sought out these views and trips into the sinkhole truly are.
I'm just going to take it all in and capture whatever images we can get to the best advantage.
Taking it all in is what has to happen here. The research is vitally important, but for myself and Gavin,
Oh, this is incredible.
This is freaking cool.
this will be an adventure we will not forget for a long time.
What an incredible adventure. We do want to give special thanks to Gary Schindel, who organized all of this, his entire crew and research team, and to Texas Parks and Wildlife for allowing us to do this.